in city government that can tell us
Mr.
where
Harris,
the increased revenue from this development will actually go?
Mr.
And I'm
Harris.
specifically hotel motel.
okay. Hold on for 1 second. Mr. Strickland wants to answer that. Hold on.
You're asking where the increased taxes generated from this project are going?
From
One
hotel
specific
motel
tax, hotel motel.
Oh, which is not included in paying the bonds back. All right.
We hear a lot about economic activity generated from these development projects, that these actually result in revenues to the city of Memphis.
Right.
And I'm trying to explore whether or not one category of revenues to the city of Memphis actually goes to the benefit of Memphians. So if there are 300 plus more hotel rooms, which generate a boon in hotel motel tax revenue, do the citizens of Memphis benefit directly? Where does the hotel motel tax go?
Little, try to answer that.
Yes, Councilman Harris, those receipts would be expended as our current collections for hotel motel are spent, including for the Cook Convention Center, which of course we're solely responsible for now. A certain amount of those funds are used for the Convention and Visitors Bureau to help promote Memphis tourist attractions, not just in the Graceland area, but all across the city, including Beale Street, other parts of town. So that would simply
And maybe I can short circuit this. My fear is that increase in hotel motel tax leaves us in the same predicament we're in, you know, struggling to try to pave streets. And so the question is, are all the hotel motel tax revenues dedicated to those sources? Conventions, hold on, let me make sure I finish. Convention center, paying a stadium like the FedEx Forum, you know, is it dedicated to those types of activities, or can it be used to actually pave streets, pay police officers, and have community benefits for citizens in Memphis?
I think for some very good reasons, and it's a whole nother discussion, that is a dedicated revenue stream for the uses that we're putting. I mean, there have been a number of years we haven't had sufficient revenues to cover our expenditures. So of late, we've been at more than break even, but those are dedicated revenue streams for those sorts of uses.
So even though we get I think the word they use is catalytic development project in this city of Whitehaven, a $75 million project, there is very little benefit when it comes to street paving or police officers or any of the stuff that we've got to kind of scrape and argue to find the money and resources to.
I would disagree that there's very little, because those other activities generate economic activity, which in turn does pay for streets and police. It's not a one-for-one. It is reinvested in other areas. And those areas, in fact, do, by bringing tourists in, and I've heard this body speak repeatedly about having outside dollars coming in to lift up the city of Memphis. If you listen to the statistics on what we get in terms of benefit of both regional, national, international tourists, those people, when they spend money here in sales tax, that does help to pay for streets, police, and the other services. So there is an additional stream of benefits that comes, even though the hotel motel, which is a very small piece of the pie, goes for these other sources.
All right, I'll ask one other question, and I'll stop because All right, I'll ask one other set of questions. Thank you, Mr. Ford. Is that the sales tax, because I like this economic activity, right? Those phrases and all this catalytic activity, I love it all. But I can't spend it, I can't eat it, right? I can't pave streets with it. And so I'm trying to get to a place where I understand how citizens of Memphis benefit at the end of the day. And so one place of area of inquiry is just what you just said, is that the sales tax revenue will grow. And so the easiest way to measure that is to figure out how many visitors are out to Graceland now and how many we expect once this development is done, because that's growth, right? And if the visitorship is going up, I love it. So and we can ask Graceland this here, we can just get it on the record, whatever that's worth. What is the expected growth in visitorship after this development is done? Because that's the only way we get new sales tax revenue. If the same visitors are coming year and year and staying in a fancier hotel and spending the same sorts of money, you know, we're not getting new sales tax revenue. So how do you expect visitorship to grow?
By at least 100,000 a year.
What do you do now, and what do you expect to see after this development?
550 to 650. The ultimate goal, of course, is to continue to grow visitorship at Graceland. One other point in addition.
And has there been visitorship growth in the past with previous development projects at Graceland? I'm just,
There have not been any reinvestment in Graceland in some time, so that has not occurred because there hasn't been reinvestment.
okay, I cut you off. Go ahead.
Now, I was also going to point out that in addition to the hotel motel tax that will increase as a result of this project, assuming that this body approves the TIF when it comes to you at some point down the road, the tax increment is going to be divided from the real property taxes, where 50%, which is the minimum amount that can be used on a project under the TIF statute, would go to the project, and 50% would continue to go to the city and county. So that's an additional $1 million plus a year that would go to the city and county. Personal property taxes are not included in any of the incentives, so they will continue, and the increase in personal property taxes will go to the city and county as well.
I love the TIF part. That's what I told you in our previous meeting. The TIF part was the only thing I could spend. It's the only thing I can eat. And I wish you'd done the TIF first, but we're doing the TDZ first, and we're not doing the TIF. And I hope you keep your word and you come back and do the TIF, and then we'll actually have some money, to do something with, like protect the taxpayer and provide a community benefit. Thank you very much. Thank you, Mr.
Thank you,
Chair.
Mr. Harris. Mr. Flynn.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Don't leave the mic. And I know the answer based on our meeting this morning, but just in case our friends across the street start getting up in arms about this, the sales tax money for the schools is carved out for this and will continue to go to the schools?
That's correct, and it's done as a result of the statute under which this TDZ would be created.
Yes. Okay, thank you.